what does Kyle Shanahan need to do to keep his job? Assuming, well, no, I mean, like, is it a certain amount of wins he needs to have this year? Is it just making the playoffs? Is it some type of adjustment he makes to his team or his staff this offseason? Like, or is it absolutely nothing? Can he just say, hey, injuries, run it back?
No, I do believe there's a wall there. The money's got to come from somewhere. Fortunately, I just don't believe that it's purely football. I do believe that Kyle's job would officially be in jeopardy if he did not make the playoffs. I think that would start after this year. He's definitely not getting fired after this year, even though you and I have talked ad nauseum that if you were going to do it, rip the Band-Aid off. He's done enough to keep to have a year.
Yeah, go get Ben Johnson while he's available.
You better. But you look at him moving forward, I would have to say missing the playoffs would be the official, hey, you're on the hot seat. That would be the misnomer. Also, getting to the playoffs and losing in the first round, I think that would buy him one more year. But if he did it the very next year, he'd be on the hot seat again. So really, net, I'm giving Kyle 2 solid years. He's going to get 2 years. And in one of those years, they're going to be looking for any type of success to be able to kind of run back the hands of time. So I don't think they want to fire him. But I do believe that there's different factions within the organization group, i.e. Jed, John, and his mother, where they all think together, but they don't think alike. And I believe that some thought processes are more important than others. And that's when I believe that Kyle would definitely be, shown the door. So I would give Kyle 2 years of failure. And the only reason why he would get 2 years, because I think it would take the Yorks 2 years to kind of get an answer together on what they believe. But if he doesn't show consistent losing over 2 years, guys, I believe Kyle could be here for a long time. If Kyle kind of just, hey, playoffs this year, we win for 2 years, go to the playoffs, win one game, get ousted, but not necessarily like a contending team for the Super Bowl. If he could do just that, I could see Kyle here for another 8 years.
Yeah, to me, I think the model here that the Niners could look to is Philly. So last year, Philly lost the Super Bowl, come back, and they really tanked down the stretch, and they can't win any games, and they're kind of embarrassed, and people are looking at Nick Sirianni like, man, have you lost the locker room? Have they already tuned you out? And before making a rash decision and saying, yes, he's lost his locker room, look at how the season ended, they gave him a chance to sort of get all new coordinators. Like, look, this didn't work. So if you want to bring in new D coordinator, new offensive coordinator, like this is your last chance. So whoever you want, is it Vic Fangio? Who is it? And it worked. So maybe what the Niners say is, look, like Kyle is taking too much on himself. He's got himself probably his weakest coaching staff. The 2024 49ers were his weakest coaching staff. Tell him, like, you need a new assistant head coach, special teams coordinator, defensive coordinator, and maybe even an offensive coordinator too. And you can take whoever you want. We'll pay for him, man. Whoever the hell you want. Mike Vrabel, Robert Saleh, get him. And no more excuses. You got your quarterback. You got your coaching staff. We want to see you bounce back the way Nick Sirianni did. Is that a reasonable way to go about it?
Okay.
Because your team lacks discipline. Your team lacks discipline, Kyle, and John Lynch said so.
I'll tell you this. I think that's cool. But let me ask you this, Grant. I see that you say that we've seen, like, hey, 2024, 49ers worst coaching staff. Man, outside of what Kyle brought in here in 2017, the coaching staff has just gotten gradually diluted. It's not like we had bad coaches, then Kyle resurged the coaching staff, and then more coaches had exoduses and they went and no.
Real quick, I would just say that the step down from Wilks to Sorensen and the step down from Anthony Lynn to Brandon Staley is significant. I can't prove it.
Yeah, but
what I think they miss Anthony Lynn.
Okay, but what I would say is that Anthony Lynn
and Clint Kubiak to Clay Kubiak. That's the last one.
Okay. And I would also say that Anthony Lynn from Mike McDaniels and Steve Wilks from DeMeco Ryans that's my point. It's still a step down.
I agree with you.
He's been stepping down year after year after year, but the names have been have enough weight around them for us not to really understand exactly what's happening. But Anthony Lynn isn't Mike McDaniel, and Steve
real quick, like
Ryans.
like if Nick Sirianni had been like on the hot seat and he brought in Brandon Staley, people be laughing. I'm like, that's the guy who's gonna laughing. What he went out and did is get Vic freaking Fangio. So I want to see Kyle stop messing around, dude. Stop bringing out these like BC level coaches who failed that you can be like, oh man, I'll put my arm around you and I'll like revive your career. Like, no, dude, bring in someone who's legitimately good. Robert Saleh, whomever.
Also, being able to bring in great coaches kind of shows your pull professionally as a coach. Anybody can get players, because the truth of the matter is that players sign with teams for a lot of different reasons. And a lot of times it ain't the damn coach, being honest with you. It's the money, it's the situation, it's the scheme, it's geographically where they'll get to be at. All things matter when we talk about players playing with teams. If I'm Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams, what else am I going to tell you about Kyle? That's the man who signed off changing my life for generations. I'm always going to tell you that Kyle's the guy. But when you really get to see what type of dude Kyle is, it's the guys who want to go work with him. The guys who want to sign up under him and say, I'll put up with you day to day. I'll help you win because I know it's going to help all of us. You even looked at Coach Wilks. We all knew that Coach Wilks came here because he was here for upward movement. He had been ousted 2 years in a row before he had got here, and he was here for San Francisco to up his career. So that wasn't a I respect Kyle move. Coach Wilks was.
Can I say something real quick about that too? Go. I mean, the fact that he went here for upward movement and got scapegoated and fired has to be scary for next potential. It's like, wait a second, man. Like, oh, am I going to be the scapegoat there too? I mean, it's not fair what they did to Steve Wilks. I'm not sure I can even do as well as Steve did. 17.5 points per game. I'd be proud of that.
Grant, I said this. I'll never find the show. But when Wilks was getting scapegoated last year, I said, you know what? This is not going to be a good look for Kyle moving forward. Everybody thinks that scapegoating that man is cool, but there were a lot of coaches. Now, I'm going to just be honest with you guys. I came from a HBCU, a historically Black college university, okay? So there is a faction of coaches that I look at as mentors of mine that are Black coaches that have gone through in college ranks and in pro ranks. And I'm going to tell you, we all look after our own, so to speak. And Coach Wilks is very well respected, not only in the coaching community, but in the Black coaching community. And when he got disrespected was
he at HBCU?
Yeah, before.
Okay.
And when Coach Wilks got disrespected and scapegoated by the Niners, there wasn't anybody pulling a race card or anything, but it was noticed. And it left a really bad taste in everybody's mouth. And I'm going to tell you, man, like moving forward, coaches look at that and say, man, I'm not going over there for San Francisco. Before, it was good for cachet. You get next to Kyle, you get to play in the playoffs, you get your name out there, and then you can go eat shit for a year or two and then go on about your business. But now you see them, they're eating their own over there. Like you see a guy like Coach Wilks that has that defense, they go from 3 to 6, and he gets
1 to 3. 1 to 3. That's what they went from.
1 to 3. Yeah, and he gets scapegoated the way that he did. Like, there's no way in hell that I'm working for them over there. On top of the fact that you can see how different coaches get paid. You see how different coaches get paid over there. And then even the pay scale is weird over there. You've got some of the highest paid assistant coaches over there on top of some of the lowest paid assistant coaches over there. And a guy like Coach Kasarik, where he can make $1 million a year. All right. More money than Coach Forrester, who doesn't even get the dogs. All right. But then you can have a receivers coach in Leonard Hakerson who's making pennies on the dollar. And then we wonder why our receiving core never really churns out anything inside of this offense. There's holes in this coaching staff, and it starts with Kyle.